Reception, welcome back to your first Virtual Schools Understanding of the World lesson. So now we're going to have a look at different types of eggs and see if we can match them up to their mum. So the first you can see are these kind of small orange eggs, and then you've got, I tell you what, I'm just going to pop a pointer on to make it easy for you to see where my mouse is. Okay, here we go. So the first of these small orange eggs. Then you've got these bigger ones. I know it's really hard to see from the picture, but these are really big, these eggs, really big, and they're obviously on kind of like a dry, sandy ground. And then you've got some smaller, again, little yellow eggs that are on a leaf, and some harder ones that are, again, kind of much bigger than our chicken eggs, but not as big as these eggs. And then lastly, you've got something which I think you might all recognise, kind of looks a bit like jelly and is in water. Have a look at the animals below. So you've got a frog, a ladybird, a fish, an ostrich, which is a very big bird, and a snake, which is a reptile. So have a little look, maybe pause the screen and see if you can match, if you can figure out which egg has come from which animal. Have a go at doing that now. Okay, I'm going to go to the next slide and you'll see if you were right. Did you get it right? Let's have a look. So the little orange eggs go with the little orange fish, the clownfish, and they, I'm sure you recognise those from Finding Nemo. They're hatched in the sea, obviously, and they are often laid around rocks and anemones to protect them from predators because they're obviously quite small and vulnerable. And then you've got these ostrich eggs. These are really huge ostrich eggs with a hard shell, just like our chicken eggs, because they come from an ostrich, which is a bird, and bird eggs all have a hard protective shell to protect it from predators. Now you've got some ladybird eggs, and a ladybird is a type of invertebrate. So invertebrate eggs can be different depending on what type of invertebrate it is, but an invertebrate is basically an animal without a backbone. So if you put your hand on your back now, you should be able to find your spine, which is the long bone that runs all the way from your neck down to your bottom. You should be able to feel that. But invertebrates don't have that. They have exoskeletons, which are basically shells, like a snail or a ladybird. And then next, these are snake eggs. A snake is a reptile, like a lizard, or something like that, and they have kind of like hard, scaly skin. And the snake lays its eggs in a kind of pit, kind of soily, earthy pit. And then you've got the next one, which is a frog, type of amphibian. Amphibians can breathe in water or on land, in air. And I'm sure you recognise the frog spawn. It's kind of like a gelatinous, jelly-looking type thing. Lots of different soft-shelled eggs there. Maybe if you are able to get out for a little bit of exercise and for a walk, obviously keeping a safe distance away from anybody else, you might be able to see a pond, and you might find some frog spawn, because now's the time of year when the frog spawn is. We're starting to see the frog spawn. So well done if you got that right, reception. Miss Livet's very pleased with you. Okay, so we're going to go next and see if we can compare the different types of eggs and see whether they've got soft shells or hard shells. Do they hatch on land or in water? Do we think they're little or are they big? And do we think the shells are transparent or opaque? Now that's calling on you to remember some of the language that we've learnt in previous Understanding the World lessons. So have a really good think back to that. Right, so the first is whether they are born in whether they're hatched, in water or on land. So I'm going to select my pen tool so that we can draw lines and see which goes where. So let's see, which one should we do first? Let's do the clownfish. The clownfish, well, it's a fish, so I'm sure you've guessed it. The fish lay their eggs in water. As do the frogs. So you've got the connection there that frogs live in water as well as in land, and their eggs are both soft shells They have more cushioning in the water, I guess. And the snake eggs and the ostrich eggs are both on land. Now, the ladybug eggs were obviously on land because they're on a leaf, but if it were a different type of invertebrate like a jellyfish, that would be in the, yep, you guessed it, in the sea, so that would be in water. So it does depend on what sort of invertebrate it is. Now, so we've just talked a little bit about this, so you'll hopefully be able to tell me, the clownfish, do we think their eggs are soft or are they hard? Well, they're born in the water, so they're soft, as are the frog's eggs. But again, the ostrich eggs, because that's a bird, we know that bird eggs have a hard shell because our chicken eggs have a hard shell. The snake, the reptile eggs, are all hard. They've got to protect from predators on land, so they have a nice hard. But the last thing is, are these eggs transparent or opaque? Now, I hope that you can think back to some of our previous science lessons and remember whether the egg, what the word transparent means and what the word opaque means. So have a little think. Have you remembered? I hope so. So transparent is something that is see-through, like a glass, a bottle of water, your windows, etc. They're all transparent. The tissue paper, remember we shone a light through tissue paper, we could see that was kind of slightly transparent, wasn't it? And then you've got opaque, and opaque is when light can't get through, and it's so for example wood or metal, you can't see through. So let's see, the clownfish are transparent. You can see the little embryo fish of the fish growing inside them. As with the frogs, you can very clearly see they're transparent there, can't you? Sorry, my mouse is jumping around a little bit. Not very straight lines. But the snakes are opaque because they have a hard shell, as are the ostrich because they are hard. Now, the ladybird, I've been trying to kind of see because they're still quite soft, but I don't think you can really see into them. So I'm going to say you can just see that they're yellow. So I'm going to say they're opaque, but maybe I might be wrong. You can find out. Okay, right, so now it's time for your quiz. I want to see if you've listened today and if you've listened to the last few chick lessons, if you can recall the last few chick lessons we've done. The first one is a fact that we learned a few weeks ago, so let's see if you can remember. So the first question, true or false? A chick eats the yolk when it is growing inside the egg. Now the yolk, remember, was the yellow part of the egg. We had the white, which was depending on whether it was cooked or not, either the transparent or the white part of the egg, and the yolk was the yellow part inside that. So true or false, a chick eats the yolk when it's growing inside the egg. Did you get it right? Yep, it's true. Chicks eat the yolk inside the egg to grow nice and big and strong. That's its food source when it's growing inside the egg. The second question, true or false, a fish lays its eggs on land? That's a bit of an easy one, isn't it, really? You know that's not true, that's false, thumbs down, because a fish, of course, lays its eggs in water. 3, true or false, the shell of a bird's egg is hard? Yep, you're right, it's true, thumbs up. We've seen the ostrich egg, which is hard, and we've also felt our chicken eggs. We know that's hard because remember when Miss Livet tried to show you the insides of a raw egg and then had to peel the cooked egg, it took me quite a lot of effort, didn't it, to crack the eggshell. It's hard, it's nice and hard to protect the growing chick inside. Well done if you got 3 out of 3 there. Now your last thing, very last thing now, is a challenge. I want you to find out which animal lays the biggest eggs in the world. With your parent or carer or whoever's doing this with you, with their support, can you see if you can use the internet or a non-fiction book? So remember we used our egg to chicken non-fiction book to help learn lots about our chickens. You might have one like that at home. And I would like to know the name of that animal and where in the world they live. So I want to know which animal lays the biggest egg in the world and where do they live. And I'd like you to email reception.charlesdickens@gmail.com. And if you can put egg in the subject line, then I'll know which emails to look out for. And I will tell you in next week's lesson who got the answer right. And I will be giving dojos for people that send their answers in to me. And when you get back to school, you'll be able to see who's got lots of dojos, which is very exciting. So I look forward to receiving your answers, and I hope you've enjoyed your first understanding of the world lesson. Well done, Reception. It's been lovely chatting to you, and we will speak soon. Take care. Bye.